Imagine this, it's another morning, and your alarm's blaring like a fire truck. You hit snooze, promising yourself just 5 more minutes, but deep down, you know it's a lie. When you finally crawl out of bed, you're already late. Your phone's buzzing with notifications, and you're scrolling through feeds that leave you feeling hollow before the day's even begun. You swear today's the day you'll tackle that big project, write that novel, start that business, hit the gym, but hours slip away like sand, and by night, you're staring at the ceiling, drowning in guilt, thinking, why am I so lazy? But here's the question that changes everything. What if you're not lazy at all? What if the problem isn't you, but the world you're living in? The truth is, you're not lazy, you're trapped in an environment rigged to sabotage your focus, drain your energy, and bury your potential. Today, we're ripping that trap wide open. We're going deep into why you feel stuck, how your surroundings are pulling the strings, and how you can redesign your life to make success feel like the natural choice. This isn't about shaming you or telling you to hustle harder. It's about understanding the invisible forces controlling your behavior and taking back the wheel. So, stick with me, this is going to flip how you see yourself and your world. And real quick, if this hits home, hit that subscribe button and join the thousands of us fighting to reclaim our focus and build lives we're proud of. Let's dive in. Let's start by dismantling the myth of laziness. Society loves to slap that label on anyone who doesn't fit the hustle culture mold. Miss a deadline, skip a workout. You're lazy. Can't keep up with the endless grind. You're defective. We're fed this narrative from childhood teachers, parents, bosses, even social media influencers preaching. No excuses. But laziness isn't some moral failing baked into your DNA. It's a misunderstanding of how humans actually function. Your brain isn't a productivity robot, it's a survival machine, wired to conserve energy and chase rewards. Neuroscience backs this up. Motivation depends on dopamine, the chemical that signals pleasure and reward. When a task feels immediately rewarding, like eating a donut or getting a notification, your brain's all in. But when the reward is far off, like finishing a project due in 3 weeks, your brain hesitates. That hesitation isn't laziness, it's biology clashing with a world that demands constant output. We internalize failure as personal weakness because it's easier than questioning the systems around us. I used to torture myself for procrastinating on my writing. I'd sit there, staring at a blank page, thinking, what's wrong with me? Then I looked around. My desk was a disaster. My phone was pinging. My schedule was chaos. The problem wasn't my character, it was my setup. Laziness is what we call the symptom when we ignore the disease. And the disease, it's the environment you're swimming in. Your environment is the invisible hand steering every choice you make. It's not just the stuff in your room, it's the physical space you inhabit, the digital world you navigate, the people you surround yourself with, even the mental chatter in your head. These aren't just background noise, they're active players in your behavior. Behavioral scientists like James Clear and B.J. Fogg break it down into 3 key forces: cues, triggers, and friction. A cue is a signal to act, like your phone buzzing with a new email. A trigger is what sparks a habit, good or bad, like seeing your running shoes by the door. Friction is the resistance between you and your goal, like a cluttered kitchen making it harder to cook a healthy meal. Let's be real, if your workspace is buried in junk, your to-do list reads like a novel, and your phone's a constant siren, is it any surprise you're struggling? I remember trying to study in a room with papers everywhere, a TV blaring in the background, and my phone lighting up every minute. I got nothing done, not because I was lazy, but because my environment was a war zone. James Clear says behavior is a function of your personality and your environment. You could have the discipline of a Navy SEAL, but if your surroundings are a mess, you're fighting an uphill battle. Your environment isn't just a stage, it's a director, calling the shots on what you do and who you become. Now, Let's talk about the dopamine war happening right in your pocket. Your smartphone isn't a neutral tool, it's a slot machine designed to keep you hooked. Apps like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are built by teams of psychologists and engineers to hijack your attention with quick hits of dopamine. Every like, comment, or new video triggers a tiny reward in your brain, making you crave more. It feels good in the moment, but it's wrecking your ability to focus on long-term goals. Why? Because your brain starts prioritizing instant gratification over the slow, hard work of real progress. Studies show the average person checks their phone 150 times a day. That's 150 interruptions, 150 moments where your focus gets yanked away. I fell hard into this trap. I'd open Twitter to check one thing and lose an hour to memes and hot takes. That wasn't a choice, it was a design flaw. Algorithms aren't your friends, they're built to maximize engagement, not fulfillment. They train your brain to chase easy stimulation, leaving you scattered and stuck. Think about the last time you tried to work, but ended up scrolling. You didn't plan to waste time, your environment pulled you in. Social media is a dopamine casino, and your attention is the jackpot. You're not lazy, you're fighting a war for your mind. And the odds are stacked against you. The idea that you can just willpower your way through this is a cruel myth. Willpower is real, but it's not a magic bullet. It's like a muscle, it gets tired, and fast. The Stanford marshmallow experiment showed kids who could delay gratification tended to succeed later in life. But even those kids struggled when the environment made waiting harder. Put a cookie in front of a kid and tell them to wait, and most will cave. Adults aren't much better. If your phone's on your desk, you'll check it. If your fridge is stocked with soda, you'll drink it. Productivity gurus love to preach. Just try harder. But that ignores how your environment shapes your choices. Relying on willpower alone is like trying to bail out a sinking ship with a coffee cup. I used to think I could power through distractions with sheer grit. I'd start the day strong, but by lunch, I was burned out, fighting my own setup. The real leverage comes from designing your environment to make good choices easy and bad ones hard. That's not a hack, it's a revolution. Your physical space is a mirror of your mental state. A cluttered desk isn't just messy, it's a cognitive tax. Research shows visual clutter spikes cortisol, making you stressed and unfocused. Lighting matters too, dim rooms make you sluggish, while natural light boosts energy and mood. Your space either supports your goals or sabotages them. Look at high performers like Naval Ravikant or Cal Newport. Their workspaces are intentional, clean, minimal, designed to cut friction. I used to work at a desk buried in papers, old coffee cups, and tangled cables. I'd spend 20 minutes just finding my notebook, then give up and check my phone. When I finally decluttered, set up a single lamp, and kept only my laptop and a notepad out, my productivity skyrocketed. It wasn't because I got better. It was because my environment stopped fighting me. Your space sends signals to your brain about who you are. A chaotic desk says you're chaotic. A clear desk says you're in control. I'm not talking about a magazine-worthy office, just a space that works for you. One small change, like moving distractions out of sight, can make a massive difference. Your digital environment is even sneakier, it's mental pollution. Open tabs, constant notifications, and multitasking are like smog for your brain. Every email, text, or app ping is a microdose of dopamine, keeping you hooked on reactivity instead of creation. A clean digital setup, one browser tab, notifications off, focused tools feels like breathing fresh air. I used to keep 50 tabs open, thinking I was multitasking. I was just frazzled. When I started using time blocking and tools like Freedom to block distractions, I reclaimed hours every day. Digital clutter isn't just annoying, it's a cognitive drain. Studies show multitasking drops your IQ by 10 points, the same as staying up all night. You're not lazy, you're drowning in digital noise. I once spent a week tracking how often I checked my email, over 80 times a day, most of it pointless. When I set specific times to check it, my focus doubled. Designing your digital space isn't about being a tech wizard. It's about protecting your attention from a world that's trying to steal it. Your social environment is another hidden force. You've heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not just motivational fluff, it's science. Mirror neurons in your brain make you mimic the behaviors, emotions, and energy of those around you. Hang out with negative, distracted people, and you'll feel it. Surround yourself with driven, curious folks, and you'll rise. Social media makes this worse, feeding you comparison loops that erode your confidence. I had a group of friends who loved late-night hangouts and endless complaints about work. I didn't realize how much it drained me until I started connecting with people who talked about ideas, goals, and growth. My mindset shifted. I'm not saying cut everyone off, but be intentional. Your social environment isn't just who you see, it's the conversations you have, the content you consume, the energy you let in. A few years ago, I unfollowed 200 accounts on Instagram that made me feel small. Suddenly, my feed was full of creators and thinkers who inspired me. That one move changed how I saw myself. Curate your network like you'd curate a garden. Nurture what grows, prune what doesn't. Here's a truth that'll set you free: systems beat motivation every time. Motivation is like a sugar rush, it's sweet, but fleeting. Systems are the infrastructure of your life. They're the default settings that make good behaviors easy. Want to read more? Keep a book on your nightstand, not your phone. Want to exercise? Lay out your gym clothes the night before. These are small moves, cues, rewards, less friction that compound. James Clear calls it the path of least resistance. The most successful people don't wait to feel inspired. They build routines that carry them through. I started leaving my journal open on my desk with a pen on it. Now I write every morning, not because I'm a disciplined god, but because it's easier to write than to ignore it. Systems don't care if you're in the mood. They work because they're baked into your environment. I used to rely on motivation to work out, but I'd skip the gym if I felt off. Then I started packing my gym bag the night before and putting it by the door. Suddenly, I was exercising 5 days a week. That's the power of systems. They make success inevitable. Your environment doesn't just shape your habits, it shapes who you are. Every choice you make, every space you occupy, reinforces your identity. If you're surrounded by clutter and distractions, you start to see yourself as scattered. If you build a focused, intentional environment, you become someone who gets things done. This is the feedback loop of identity. Your actions shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your actions. Want to be a writer? Set up a writing nook and write 5 minutes a day. Over time, you'll see yourself as a writer, not someone trying to write. I wanted to be a runner, so I put my shoes by the door and started jogging a mile every morning. At first, it was brutal, but after a month, I wasn't just running, I was a runner. Identity isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through repetition, and your environment is the blueprint. A friend of mine wanted to learn guitar. He kept his guitar in a case in his closet and never practiced. When he moved it to a stand in his living room, he started playing daily. Now he's gigging at local bars. Your environment tells you who you are. Make sure it's telling the right story. So how do you take control? Start with an audit. Look at your physical space. Is it cluttered? Does it support your goals? Pick one area, your desk, your kitchen, and declutter it. Make your goals visible. Put a book where you'll see it, a water bottle where you'll grab it. Next, tackle your digital world. Turn off notifications. Delete apps that steal your time. Use time blocking to focus. I deleted 3 apps that ate my mornings, and it gave me 2 hours back a day. Socially, protect your energy. Set boundaries with people who drain you. Reach out to one person who inspires you and start a conversation. These aren't massive overhauls, they're intentional tweaks. I started by moving my phone charger to another room at night. Suddenly, I was reading before bed instead of scrolling. You don't need to be perfect, just start designing your life like an architect, not a victim. Building a lazy-proof life means making good choices the default. Anchor your habits to your space, a yoga mat by your bed for morning stretches, a notebook on your desk for ideas. Remove temptations, hide your phone during work, uninstall distracting apps. Add friction to bad habits, log out of social media, keep snacks out of easy reach. I started keeping my phone in a drawer during work hours. My focus doubled, not because I got tougher, but because I made distraction harder. The goal isn't to white-knuckle your way through life, it's to make the right path so easy you can't help but take it. Think like a behavioral architect. Every choice you make about your space, your tech, your people, is a brick in the life you're building. A client of mine wanted to eat healthier but kept binging on chips. We moved the chips to a high shelf and put fruit on the counter. Within a week, she was snacking on apples instead. Small changes, big results. You're not fighting laziness, you're engineering it out of existence. Here's the final truth: you were never lazy. You were never broken. The system, the environment you've been navigating was rigged against you. The guilt you've carried, the shame of not being enough, the endless cycle of, I'll do better tomorrow. That's not who you are. That's a lie you've been fed. You're capable of things you can't even imagine, but you've been fighting with one hand tied behind your back. Now you know the rules of the game. Reclaim your story. Transform your surroundings, and you'll transform your life. Start small, clear one corner of your desk, mute one app, reach out to one person who lifts you up. These aren't just changes, they're votes for the person you're becoming. You're not lazy. You're powerful. And with the right environment, there's nothing you can't do. So go out there, redesign your world, and show yourself what you're made of.